Warnock is gone, but Aberdeen, they need to move on and they need to bring in a new manager pronto. But according to Neil himself, it looks like that is pretty much wrapped up, according to his press conference. His last ever press conference, probably in football, because I think that's him done. He wanted to give up here a go. He gave it a go. It didn't work out. Aberdeen fans will probably be glad Neil Warnock's away and they can actually get someone who is serious and has got a future at the club. I think interim managers can work to a degree, but I actually cannot grasp Neil Warnock earlier sitting there saying that he set a standard. Anyway, if you want to see that, check it out. It's on the channel earlier on. But we've got 10 Aberdeen manager candidates. Of course, there's one guy who's favourite, and we all think it's Neil Francis Lennon, but there's still a lot of people that wouldn't mind the sheep hot seat, and we're going to go in to it. And kicking us off in 10th place, we've got Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney, now this is according to the Daily Record. I'm not saying that this is my top 10. Personally, I couldn't give a rat's ass who got the managerial job, but Wayne Rooney would bring a bit of name value. The guy needs to rebuild his managerial stock, because I tell you what, he's not done it any favours. The guy is absolute pish as a manager. Great footballer as a manager, not so much. Derby wasn't the worst work you've ever seen, but Birmingham and DC United weren't that good. Well, DC United was alright, I guess, to a degree, but Birmingham, his latest run, Jesus, man, absolutely horrendous. The guy's got to do something. Rhys McCabe at Airdrie. Now, of course, Airdrie's doing fantastic. He's done very well with Airdrie. This is more of an out there option, and I just don't really see this ever happening for Rhys McCabe. I'm sorry. We'll move on to Gerrit Knutson. Not a chance. This guy was linked with Rangers and Celtic. I just don't see how a manager linked to Rangers and Celtic could be moving to Aberdeen, so I'm going to call BS on that one. Here, Backy, the ultimate Granite City rumour. It was a bigger badge of honour than scoffing a red pudding supper if you got the WhatsApp which claimed the Norwegian was inbound 12 months ago. It came to little, and now the man who caused himself a hell of a time in his homeland might welcome a call from Aberdeen. Backy was the hot name to rival Knutson for his stellar work with Lillestrøm, but then the 54-year-old went and did something stupid like taking over sworn rivals Vålerenga. I don't remember this guy being linked with a job. I'm sure I would have covered it a year ago, but scoffing a red pudding supper, damn, pretty good line there for the Daily Record. I like that. We're actually going into a bit of detail with a lot of these candidates. The Arctic Circle. Well, Aberdeen, close enough to the Arctic Circle, I guess. Neil Lennon, of course, is the favourite for it. 52. He's not really done much since Celtic's 10 in a row failure, which I don't think you can pin too much of that on Lennon, by the way. I think the players, the arse went. Alright? The absolute arse went. He did a decent job with the Cypriot team he was managing. I mean, he was pretty unlucky not to get results against Manchester United in the Europa League. But I think Neil Lennon probably will get the job. Another guy for Northern Ireland, we've got Michael O'Neill. The man has lived and played in Scotland, has long been linked with managing in the country, Used to play for Hibs and Dundee United. And what way to betray Dundee United? By joining new firm Derby rivals Aberdeen as manager. I think he's a decent manager, Michael O'Neill, but he's managing Northern Ireland, man. He's managing his country. He's not long back into that role after he left it. I don't think he's going to leave them for Aberdeen. It's just money-wise as well. He's probably a similar level money-wise. Gary Rowett says, more like the 49-year-old is an English Championship lifer with spells at Birmingham, Stoke, Derby and Millwall. Will Gary move to Aberdeen? I'm not too sure. Obviously, like 10 candidates sounds good on paper, but I feel like with few of these options we are scraping the barrel. Stephen Robinson. Now, that's one I could see happening. I mean, there's just teams in the league that are go better, like Derek McKinn, Stephen Robinson. They're at clubs that are obviously smaller than Aberdeen, but they're doing much better jobs than Aberdeen, and therefore that's what you'd want. You'd want and bring in a manager who's doing a better job with a club that's worse, because that would really bode well for you. But Stephen Robinson, I think he'll stay at St Mirren. Do I think he would reject Aberdeen? Not necessarily. Alex Neil, he is a free agent. Now, we've actually had a bunch of comments suggesting that they should, in fact, get Alex Neil, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out for Aberdeen. Alex Neil, though, I think he's a decent manager, but it was his Stoke spell most recently that kind of ruined his reputation. And then finally, our final option, Tony Docherty at Dundee. It would be Scottish football heritage. The man standing next to Derek McInnes for 8 years returns in the main role. Aye, but it's not going to happen, guys. It's Neil Francis Lennon. That is for sure. The fact that it's like the talks are almost done, it's not going to be a current manager. It's going to be a free agent. And that free agent is none other than Francis.